Thanks for joining us, Will. Now, you've been involved in these kind of situations. How difficult is an exchange of hostages like this? How difficult is it to get 50 hostages out from those tunnels and back into the hands of Israel? I mean, we're kind of gleaning that the negotiations must be very tense, hence the 24-hour delay.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I've not had experience of that number of hostages being released, but even when you have one person, Kev, it's incredibly fraught and it's very tense because you're taking your negotiations through probably third parties as well. Hamas have got a very organised, well set up hostage negotiation system, where obviously they've done exchanges before, historically, for Palestinian prisoners against IDF soldiers that are being captured. But we've got civilians in this instance, which are a far more fragile commodity, if you like, and I hate to use that word, but when you are looking at a hostage negotiation, it is a transactional process, regardless of what the actual ransom might be. But it's the proof of life which is going to be the key thing. And this is the thing which I think has taken so long for them to establish before, obviously, any discussions could be tabled to actually releasing what Hamas would like in exchange for those Israeli citizens that have been held. And as we've noted, for tomorrow, hopefully, that proof of life will go through the night until right up till the very last minute of where that exchange will take place, and where that exchange will take place is going to be critical as well.
I mean, talking about where it will take place leads me on to my next question, because my understanding is one of the demands from Hamas has been a surveillance blackout over the territory during the period of this truce. How dangerous would that be for Israel, essentially, to no longer have eyes on about what's going on in Gaza for a succession of days? Well,
absolutely. I mean, and Alex, you're absolutely right. This ceasefire, as Douglas Murray was saying, you know, we are not going to see a cessation, obviously, of any conflict. This is going to continue. And what they're being given is 4 days to regroup, resupply, rearm, and be prepared, obviously, for any ground incursion that it continues into Gaza. So the removal of any surveillance, that is, I think, an unreasonable request, because quite inevitably, Hamas will have splintered that 236 hostages, that is, those that are still alive, and I honestly don't believe there will be that many that are still alive. They will have splintered them into various different pockets around Gaza, probably in the tunnels where they will be holding them. So if you're moving those particular hostages, which have been designated for release, they will be moving them from only one section. They won't be releasing them all from a single area. So the removal of surveillance isn't going to advantage necessarily Israel in terms of obviously maintaining that. But for Hamas, it will definitely disadvantage them if they're resupplying and bringing other supplies or moving supplies that they will be using against Israel in the conflict.
Well, there are, at the moment, we're told, let's hope to God that they're still alive, 240 hostages in those tunnels beneath Gaza. If they release 50, there'll be still 190 hostages there. I mean, these are Hamas's bargaining chips, aren't they? So, of course, we applaud and celebrate the release of all hostages, particularly as we're hearing most of these people, if they are released, will be women and children. But in the end, you know, they're going to slow down, aren't they, releasing hostages, because they won't want to lose their bargaining chips. So it's good to get rid of 50, but I would suggest if there's another situation like that, it'll be 20 and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I agree entirely. It's going to fall to their game plan perfectly, certainly for them to maintain a sustained position of defence against, obviously, Israel, or offence in many instances, because they're still chucking missiles over into Israel. It's not like they're taking a purely defensive position. But again, I agree with also the position that Hamas have to be entirely decimated.
Yeah.
If they're not decimated, they will give incentive, obviously, to others around the world who will believe that they can follow in their path. And as we've already seen, there was a call for a day of rage, which was a call to arms by Hamas to basically say you should be carrying out actions against Western nations right now. Now, if Hamas are not removed, then you're going to have a serious problem. And I think Hamas know this. They realise, and as you rightly say, Kev, they're going to pocket hostages into smaller groups. Now, some of that may also be down to the fact that they haven't delivered on a proof of life for many or all of that number, that 236. They may be in a position here where they're still trying to use some sort of referral process, which is quite common in negotiations, where they will say, we will have to get back to you. We can't maintain or establish communications with that particular cell that we've got with those hostages in. The ones they're going to release first will probably be the most vulnerable. They will be those that will also play potentially into Hamas's publicity and their narrative of us being, as we've seen with the two hostages that have already been released, they got them almost script by script to say, to the international media, oh, we were treated very well, we got food, we got supplies. But I would say
if you don't say that, your mates who are still in the tunnels will be in for a hard time.
Yeah, they would have been wise to that.
Yeah. Well, Will, thank you very much.
Fascinating stuff. Grim, but fascinating.